Oh man, we got a lot to talk about today. We have a Kash Patel storage room incident. Kash Pateling. He's done though. Kash Patel, he's either suddenly resigning or it's his last 24 hours. Here comes Willa. We have very good reason to believe he's going the way of Kristi Noem and that he's being booted after all of this. And Lauren, what do you mean by this? Let me tell you. I know we've all known what it means when somebody has had one of those nights where things get a little blurry. But most of us aren't currently running the FBI. You've probably seen the chaos at the Hilton on the news, but the reason everyone in DC is currently on a 24-hour resignation watch for Kash Patel isn't actually the poo-pooing. It's about a specific liquid history he's been trying to bury.
Kash Patel is a raging alcoholic. There's also videotape of him flying to the Olympics on taxpayers' dime and partying and drinking.
Is Kash Patel's drinking a national security concern at this point?
Well, even before I heard he drinks, he was a national security concern.
Can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director?
I can say unequivocally that I never listened to the fake news mafia.
And I'm talking about something he did not once, but twice. And that involves a New York City sidewalk and a baseball game. And honestly, once you hear that, and what went down in a storage room while the president was being evacuated on Saturday, you're going to realize why he's halfway out the door. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra just ran past me. Our monitor is broken today, but we are going to ask you to take a moment to make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 100K on YouTube and we're trying to get 1,000 follows on Spotify. And we currently have a lead on Katie Miller. That lead can never be wide enough. So consider every sub, every follow, every action, every comment, 6 words or more, every hype. Everything you do, consider that an FU to Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller. He's the pale white nationalist from Santa Monica who used his pregnant wife as a human shield during an active pew-pew situation this past weekend. So back to Kash Patel. The Intercept pulled Kash Patel's personal file from Miami-Dade's public defender's office, and it is illuminating. The file includes a 2005 letter Patel wrote to the Florida bar, required by his employer, disclosing not one, but 2 errors he'd been copped to on his bar application. In it, he describes a gross deviation from appropriate conduct. Oh, Kash Patel, what's that deviation you speak of? Whizzing on the sidewalk in New York City while walking home, 2 sheets to the wind, coming back from a bar with your pals. A police cruiser got there first. Kash Patel paid a fine and was able to have the case discharged. He called it an anomaly. Also an anomaly, in 2001, he was arrested at the University of Richmond, the Spiders, where a school officer removed him from a basketball game for excessive cheering and handed him to a police officer for public intoxication. He was underage and he paid a fine for that too. So in this letter, he assured the bar that neither incident was representative of his usual conduct and apologized to both the board and the community at large. This would have stayed buried, except The Atlantic published a separate report last week alleging Patel shows up visibly turned at social clubs, misses work, and has become a reoccurring source of concern across the government. It's crazy that we can see it from here, from my seat here in LA. I can see what a mess, what a liability this man is. It's like a grown-up frat boy that didn't, minus the grown-up part. And he called this Atlantic story fake news, of course, and decided the best thing he could do for his reputation was to just call a little bit more attention to himself by also filing a $250 million defamation suit. There are also questions about the FBI aircraft being used for his personal travel. We've covered that in great detail. Should we make a playlist about this? Let me know in the comments. Also, Italy during the Winter Olympics, he was fratting it up in the locker room, living out the dream of being somebody people liked for the first time in his life. That it was like make a wish for Kash Patel. He also, we know, has used the PJ to visit his girlfriend, take hockey trips, golf trips. People are calling for more receipts I'd also like to call for an FBI director who operates with a little bit more diplomacy and a little less liquid courage, okay? Today's episode is brought to you by Cozy Earth. I do everything from home, including researching, writing, checking the ceiling for Stephen Miller, making sure he's not scurrying across it. And at some point, I realized the outfit I was doing all that in deserved to be better. Their jogger sets are made from viscose and bamboo, and I cannot explain the softness except to say I've reached for mine every single day since it arrived. They are put together enough that you don't feel like a person who gave up altogether, but they're comfortable enough that you never want to take it off. They work for errands, for filming, or just sitting on the couch. The clogs are real too. They're cushioned and supportive, and they're slip-ons. And I've worn them to take Willa for a spin. I've worn them to take her potty town more times than I will probably admit. And everything from Cozy Earth comes with a 100-night trial and a 10-year warranty. So you can head over to cozyearth.com and use my code Lauren, that's Loren, for 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, tell them you heard about it right here on LPTV. The crazy part about those leaked files that The Atlantic is reporting is that this isn't just like a college phase. They're alleging he's still missing in action for excessive reasons while he's supposed to be, like protecting the country, serving in the FBI. And that brings us to the Resignation Watch. Politico is already reporting that White House officials are saying it's only a matter of time for Kash. He's a ticking time bomb. Trump is reportedly losing patience because of the distraction, which comes from the guy who lives for distractions, meaning this is a code red. This is a dire situation. So let's put a pin on that peeing in public issue for a second and look at Saturday night. The Washington Hilton was completely overwhelmed as an active pew-pew situation unfolded.
Do you guys have any idea what happened in there?
Leading to what we understand to be like a total security collapse or maybe a lack thereof altogether. So while the Secret Service was shoving the president's fat tush into a car, where exactly was the director of FBI? He was caught on camera just lingering, looking around aimlessly. He looked like he was waiting for his Uber and he couldn't find it. And he figured that the Uber was never coming and they kept canceling on him. That is the exact expression that Kash Patel on his face. Even the pew-pewer, Cole Thomas Allen, reportedly left Kash off his list because the guy had been through too much, quotes. The assassin crossed him off for the same reason you don't kick a parked car, because even he knew a dead end when he saw one. But here's the actual reason he might not have a job by the time you see this. His girlfriend, who went to the White House Correspondents' dinner with him, she wasn't alone when they got evacuated. She was seen holding hands, as reported, with another man in a private room. He was cucked during an active pew-pew situation at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The same venue her boyfriend was supposed to be securing, while her boyfriend, the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, was outside on the sidewalk being photographed looking like a deer in headlights by journalists at his own crime scene. The pictures and the videos of Kash Patel, it's like, my guy, look alive, do something, do anything. You are, in fact, supposed to be the leader here. So by Friday of last week, Kash Patel was having his normal week where he's filing lawsuits against everyone, calling him a sloppy drunk and, abusing federal resources to just go party all the time. Then his federal arrest records leaked, and my group chats were popping off. Not once, but twice was this man caught relieving himself in public. Again, the law school didn't fix that. Then came Saturday, active pew-pewer at the Hilton. The president evacuated the officer. There was an officer down. Where was Kash Patel? Wandering aimlessly. Where was Kash Patel's girlfriend? In a private room, holding hands with another man.
The president's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect.
DC is a city where you can survive being a villain, but in Trump's eyes, you can never survive being a joke to him. which is like the pot calling the kettle black. But between the public urination files, come on, and aimlessly wandering at the Hilton, Kash has become a liability. Even the White House won't bother defending. So again, I'm Lauren Paritra. Willa Paritra is snoozing. Help us hit 100K subs here on YouTube. Hit that button, rate us on Spotify, follow us on Spotify. We're available wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we got to maintain our lead on Katie Miller and presumably even Kash Patel, because it seems like the pipeline for these MAGA maniacs is once you have that ultimate fall from grace, I think it's just a matter of time before you launch a podcast. So let's gain some ground here, guys. We cannot let these Looney Tunes win. And when you gotta pee, look for a restroom. That's all for now.